Welcome to this week's inspiring episode of Drive for Life. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Drive for Life. I'm your host, Brian Martindale, and tonight we're joined by our friends, Brittany and Paisley Meyers. They're coming to us from Utah. Now, you're just outside of Salt Lake City, correct? Which city is it?
Yes. We're in Murray, but it's the same zip code as Salt Lake. So we're right next to Salt Lake.
I knew it was close. Well, we're glad to have you here tonight. Thank you for joining us. First of all, I love your glasses, Paisley, and I love your bow today. It looks so beautiful. You dress for television. You're just so cute. Brittany, can you tell me, first of all, let's just start with Brittany, the history of Paisley, how all this began. I know it began very early on, so let's just go slowly through everything that's led to this.
Absolutely. So Paisley is a former identical twin. So I was pregnant with her and her sister for 25 weeks. Her sister passed at 25 and Paisley made it to 31. And it wasn't until about 29 weeks, look at you, you're smiling. 29 weeks, we heard about possibly very small kidneys. That was the first time that we heard anything about that. At 31 weeks, and in this time again, there was many conversations that Paisley wasn't going to make it. And yet this little miracle baby, every step of the way, kept showing up. And so at 31 weeks, though, we went in, no more fluid. You're smiling, you ham. And ended up having to give birth to her on December 15th. And so she was born day 2 of life. We found out that she was born into kidney failure. And from there, it was one of those moments where we didn't know what that meant.
Right.
And when at that time, Primary Children's Hospital was not taking kidney babies. And by the grace of God and a lot of prayers from every direction, excuse you, we were able to get her up there. And that created her journey towards peritoneal dialysis, CRRT, and she ended up having an 8-month NICU stay, really beat every single odd, really paved the path of dialysis on that NICU unit, which is beautiful and scary all at the same time.
Sure.
So she was born December 15th. We took her home 1st of August. So she was there just about 8 months. Bless you.
Bless you.
Bless you. And from there, she's been on dialysis, peritoneal dialysis since May of 2023. And now
she does that at home every day?
Every night for 10 hours.
Okay. Yeah, because we want people to know what all goes into this. And yeah, when it's done at home, it's every day and usually at night while they're sleeping. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Correct. And when she first came home, it was 12 hours. And when our nephrologist told us we could go down to 10, it was like Christmas morning.
Oh, like a bonus.
It was, absolutely. And so she has been doing dialysis, like I said, since May of 2023, but we've been performing it at home August of 2023 till currently. She got listed on the kidney transplant list February of this year.
Okay. And excuse me. She is listed, you're listed in Utah and Salt Lake City. Now, we want people to know, because this is kind of like the situation I went through in donating. There's 2 hospitals in this story involved, the connection between a hospital where the adult would donate and then the hospital where Paisley would receive. So let's just talk a little bit about that so we get an understanding there. If somebody was to register for Paisley and go through to start everything, how would this go?
Great question. So there's kind of what the University of Utah focuses on is living donor. And I think that is where the process has kind of fallen apart, to be completely honest with you, just because if something isn't a perfect match for her, obviously there hasn't been another option presented. And so it was a very good process, even with like UNOS or the death the deceased list.
Deceased donor list, yes.
Yep, deceased donor list. But that before the University of Utah Premier Children's was regionalized, and now it's not. And so it's 200 miles any direction. And so since she's been listed February of this year, we've received only one phone call about a deceased donor. And the
Mhm.
reality is 3 to 5 years now if we wait on that list, where before it was 3 to 5 months for children. And
Right.
and so now we are just going every direction trying to find a living donor, but more importantly, if even a paired exchange or something of that sort,
Right. And
because
that's
we
what we want to talk about today is all these options that we can make
uh,
available to people
yes.
to make them
Yeah,
viable donors for Paisley.
absolutely. And I think that's the misunderstanding because everybody thinks that they have to be an exact match for her. And the
Right.
reality is she's small. She's a small little tyke. She needs
Yep.
a specific kidney that's perfect for her. And um, we just, I guess going into it, are you going to sneeze? Going into it, we were naive. We were told up front many years ago it would be 3 to 5 months once listed. And now, we're coming up on a year and it's been
Yeah.
hard. It's been really hard.
Yeah, and I know for children and off of the deceased list, sometimes it can happen very quickly, and then sometimes we had another boy this year who tried for over 2 years. We tried for over 2 years, and he ended up receiving deceased. But it took him being listed for 5 years at Mayo. He was the longest living listed pediatric patient at the time he received
Yeah.
deceased. So what we're doing today is we're going to talk about in the second segment how we're going to speed that up by finding a living donor and then the living donor option so people understand that. And also people understand as us full-size adults, most
Mhm.
people can't picture donating to somebody like Paisley that size. So we're
Mhm.
going to go to commercial, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back with more Drive for Life, and we're going to talk more about Paisley's story and how you can help be her life-saving donor.
You'll do better at Garber. When you choose Garber Chevrolet in Midland, you become a partner in helping local organizations better the lives of thousands, generously giving back to our community since 1907. We support numerous local efforts to continuously better our Midland area communities. And together, we're able to make a difference. And your vehicle doesn't cost you a penny more with Garber's low price guarantee. Choose Garber Chevrolet in Midland. You'll get a better price and be a part of making better happen right here in Midland.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to tonight's episode of Drive for Life. Again, I'm your host, Brian Martindale. And tonight we're here with Brittany Meyers and lovely Paisley. Paisley needs a living donor to come forward and be her life-saving living kidney donor and give her the wonderful life she deserves. Again, thank you both for joining us. Now, we were talking just before the break that you have two hospitals involved. You have an adult hospital where if somebody were donating directly, there in your area, they would go through that hospital to do the donation. And then Paisley would receive it. Now, which hospital is she at?
So she's at Primary Children's, but University of Utah and Primary Children's is right next to each other. So that's
Okay.
why connection of it.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to explain in this because I personally, when I donated, Jessica was 10, and the University of Michigan has a similar setup where there's the transplant center where I donated, and then by a bridge, it's connected to Mott Children's. So people
Yeah.
understand this process. So direct donation is for somebody in your area watching tonight would take place that way then. They would register through that hospital, and we'll have the information at the end of the show, and we'll also flash it on in text. And then that kidney would be donated there, taken there, and then it would be given at the Children's Hospital at Paisley. That's correct?
Correct.
Okay. So a direct donation would be matching a blood type, first of all, and being able to donate. And what blood type is Paisley? Let's
She's
go through
type
this
O.
scenario. Type O. So she is a universal donor, but she can only receive from a type O. So if you were type O and you were registering to become her donor, and you were in the area of Salt Lake City, the donation would be done directly through those two hospitals, between donation at the adult hospital and then receiving at the children's. Okay. And for people watching anywhere in the United States, the miracle of paired donation means you do not have to match Paisley to become her life-saving kidney donor. You donate in paired donation to somebody you match, and maybe you never meet. And then that gives Paisley a voucher, I should say, puts Paisley to the top of the list, and then that next beautiful kidney that exactly matches her in that pool goes directly to Paisley. So we're taking her out of that 5-year wait list. We're giving her the gift of life, and she's receiving a living kidney that has a better chance of functioning longer and matching better and starting up right away. So that's the reasons we push for a living kidney donation. My part in this is to tell I donated almost 13 years ago. My recipient was 10. She's 23. She's perfectly healthy and working on a doctorate degree, in fact, at her college, Eastern Michigan. So these are the kind of things we want for Paisley. And we want also people to know, and I know I'm getting wordy, Brittany, but for an adult watching, sometimes they can't fathom size-wise. They think, okay, maybe I'm 6'2", I'm 220 pounds. They think my kidney is gigantic, or watermelon or something. And it's like, no, we're all 6 to 8 centimeter kidneys, no matter our size, and it'll be implanted in Paisley in her abdominal cavity. So she will literally grow into it unless her kidneys were diseased and needed to be taken out, they would stay in place. And then this one would be connected in front, and that's where she would keep her kidney. And a living kidney functions on the average of 15 to 20 years, and we've had living kidneys now function for over 50 years. And that's what we're wishing for Paisley, because the closer the match, the better the chance she has keeping it for a lifetime, just like we want. We don't want several transplants. We want her to be an active girl. So there, I've spieled off everything about facts and everything. So telling me more about just being a kidney parent, for example. Let's people know. I mean, we let people know the dialysis and everything you go through.
I think this is a perfect kind of moment to showcase it. This is renal disease at its finest right here. She is spinning up.
Yep.
She is absolutely miserable. Poor thing. She's almost done. You okay, honey?
Oh, I'm
But
so sorry, babe.
I know it is so hard. Just the reflux, the constant upset tummy.
Yeah.
This is what we battle every single moment.
Yeah, and we've had this actually in another interview we did last year, and it's not that we wanted it to happen during the interview, but this is the reality.
This is
And it's not something that just happened out of the blue for TV. It's day, night, 7 days a week. This is what she goes through, and this is what she cannot have to go through after a kidney transplant.
And this makes me emotional. You even saying that, just because, like, for example, her being on dialysis for 10 hours at night, she is constantly spitting up. She's constantly irritable, and it's uncomfortable. And, we're up between 2 and 6 times per night every night. You okay? And that is on the parents. We don't have nursing for that by any means.
Right.
And so last night went in, she was crying, had to spit up. She spit out up all of her milk. She's on continuous feeds. She's G2 fed.
Right.
And, and then once she gets it out, she feels a little better. You okay? It's just miserable, huh?
I'm so
But
sorry, sweetie.
I know it's so hard. And the hard thought part too. So dialysis, that whole thing, obviously is on the parents. We don't have nursing for that or
Right.
anything. But it has also created seizures because of the lack of breathing and trying to be on dialysis and continuous feeds and not being able to breathe because she's trying to spit it up. And so
Oh my Lord.
it is just, it's been a very scary path. I mean, one I would never want anybody to walk upon.
Right.
And
None of us do, and that's the reason for doing these interviews, is showing everybody, it's one thing to read a story, I think, but it's another thing to see it. And we don't ask, obviously, stories to be graphic, but we want them to be real. And when people see this, to know, like you say, 10 hours a night for dialysis, and you're the one that wakes up if there's an alarm.
Correct.
How does she stay still? I know we've had parents that have slept in recliners and held. How do you go about that?
Yeah, I mean, thank goodness we're in an older mid-century modern home, and so our room is right next to hers. We do a pulse ox, so we know heart rate, oxygen, everything of that sort. We can hear the alarms when the machine beeps because she lays on it, obviously, right? She's a toddler. She's gonna move in her bed.
Right.
And we just always sleep with one eye open, I guess you would say, and constantly
Yeah.
run with any sort of beep alarm, whatever it may be, because the most important part is that this baby is healthy. And
Obviously,
and the amount of times that we've had to rescue her, get her breathing again. And so
right,
yeah, peritoneal dialysis is the more gentle kind. It's still
right.
dialysis, right? It's
Yeah,
still
it's still dialysis. And there's no, again, just like there's no breaks for her in the dialysis treatment, there's no nights for you guys that are, oh boy, we can sleep in tomorrow morning. Oh, let's stay up the night and watch the movie or the football game because we know we got time off tomorrow. There's no
no.
vacations. That's what we want people to know. You
Yeah.
know, we don't have to be dramatic or anything. This is real life.
This is real life. And we're also trying to understand her norm, right? Because our baby with losing her sister created a brain bleed. She
Yeah,
has
and
cerebral
our
palsy.
condolences. I wanted to say that to you.
Thank,
I'm so sorry.
thank you. Yeah, I can't imagine two of these cute little stinkers. Like she's just so perfect. But, she deals with cerebral palsy and we don't know the reality of what her diagnosis is until she gets that kidney.
Right.
And we don't know, she's starting to do things. We have her in an intensive therapy where she does 2 hours and it is intense. And now she's starting to take steps in her gait trainer where we were told she would never walk. And so it's beautiful what she's doing, but I can't wait to see what she does next. And we
Yeah.
won't know that until a kidney comes along.
You'll do better at Garber. When you choose Garber Chevrolet in Midland, you become a partner in helping local organizations better the lives of thousands, generously giving back to our community since 1907. We support numerous local efforts to continuously better our Midland area communities. And together, we're able to make a difference. And your vehicle doesn't cost you a penny more with Garber's low price guarantee. Choose Garber Chevrolet in Midland. You'll get a better price and be a part of making better happen right here in Midland.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you again for joining us on this episode of Drive for Life. And we have a very special guest to help explain everything that's going on with Paisley. Today, Amber Jones is joining us from the University of Utah Health. She is the abdominal transplant manager for University of Utah Health Transplant Center, correct?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay, I want to say that. Thank you for joining us. Paisley and Brittany are off to the side while we're talking, and we wanted you to come aboard to give a more technical explanation of everything because, kind of like my program, when I donated, there was a hospital for the adults and then the children's hospital. So a similar situation, and so. I thought you would be great if you could explain this today to everybody watching. And again, thank you for being here.
Absolutely. And Brian, I thank you for allowing us to share what we do to help support patients like Paisley. Our pediatric population is very important to be able to find sustainable transplants for them.
Yeah.
Living donor is our best option for these
Right.
little humans. And I appreciate the time.
Oh, yes.
To share a little bit about that collaboration Brian had mentioned, Primary Children's is the Utah Transplant Program, and it serves all the pediatric population, including Miss Paisley. In that, living donor, as I already stated, is the best opportunity for a kidney transplant for a child. We can optimize the match. It is usually has a better clinical improvement for the patient in a longevity stance. We
Okay.
want these kidneys to last a long time for these kiddos. In
Absolutely.
that, to be able to be a living donor, you have to be an adult. That is a caveat.
Okay.
As Primary Children's is a pediatric hospital, we have a very strong partnership with them. We are University of Utah Health Hospital and clinics.
Right.
We are adult specialties. And so therefore, our partnership with Primary Children is to help their kiddos find adult donors for kidneys that would be perfect for them.
Okay.
Sometimes it feels a little bit like a needle in a haystack that we're searching for.
Yeah.
We're so grateful for people in the community like yourself who can resonate with the need of somebody who needs a kidney and give the gift of life and have that conscious decision to say, I can make a profound impact on somebody's life. And that is exactly what we're doing with Paisley. We're trying to find that person that is the perfect match for Paisley. So she's able to have a kidney for a very long time that will function with her body, that she can get off of dialysis, she can live the life of a more normal, healthy child.
Right.
In that event, our program works very closely with Primary Children's.
Okay.
Our role is to be the living donor entity. So we take any patient that volunteers to come forward to be evaluated for living donation
Mhm.
for a particular person, or they can be non-directed. What we're looking for today is particular people who would want to come forward to be evaluated for Paisley.
Right.
In that, we take the responsibility of looking at that adult patient holistically.
Mhm.
It's a very extensive healthcare assessment to make sure that we're not causing long-term harm to another person. The ultimate healthy people donate, and we're so grateful for their donation. In
Yeah.
that, we also look at the big picture of if that particular donor is right for the recipient. In this case, Paisley.
Easy, yeah.
We do encourage many people to come forward. We want to find the best opportunity for Paisley. And so we're happy to assess anybody who comes forward to make sure that we find the best opportunity for
Yeah.
any child, for any adult as well, because we do adult transplants for living donation, but that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about Paisley.
Right. And the more people, like you're saying, obviously we're increasing the odds. The more people that would come forward to volunteer, because it's such a delicate match, we increasing the odds by every person we get to come in contact with you.
That is correct.
Okay.
And it
And
gives Paisley the better opportunity as well.
mhm,
We want to try to find the best kidney possible. The
yeah,
more people that come forward, the more opportunity we have to find that best kidney.
right. Now I know, I was going to say when I donated, like I say, there I went through that separate thing. I was at the Adult Transplant Center, which is University of Michigan Transplant, and then Jessica, my recipient, was over at Mott. And so somebody does the testing and donating through your hospital, and then the
Correct.
kidney does a little bit of traveling over to Paisley, correct?
Yes, and it's really unique where we're housed because we in this unique state of Utah, we're right against the mountain range, which is kind of nice. But it is stacked in a way where we have Huntsman Cancer Institute. And right below that is University of Utah Health, and then right below that is Primary Children's.
Ah,
Everything's connected by a bridge. There's
okay.
literally a bridge walk over from University of Utah Health to Primary Children's, and that's why it makes logistical sense as well for our program to support their program and their living donor needs. So there is not too much of a travel. It does not that kidney in the packaging, the safety packaging that we provide, it actually never goes outside. It
I,
crosses over an indoor bridge into Primary Children's Hospital straight into the OR, where Paisley would be able to receive that gift of life.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of was making a little joke about little traveling, but that's kind of like the similar thing. They have an enclosed bridge at U of M that goes over to Mott because 48 hours after I donated, then they wheeled me over in that same bridge. And
Yes.
to tell people the difference, just from my perspective, I had ridden down with Jessica and she was pale white, and not to make it sound, bad about her, but she obviously something was wrong, and 48 hours later to be wheeled over and see this little girl, I was asking honestly, they had press in the room to take pictures and doctors and the family. And I'm like, is this Jessica? And they thought I was kidding, but I was being serious because she really did look like a different girl than I'd ridden side by side with 48 hours earlier. It's incredible the difference that, is almost immediate once that kidney is functioning, I should say. Yeah, I'm sure you see some remarkable stories too, like that, and reactions.
Yes, absolutely. And one of the amazing facts about kidneys, there's a lot of attention in the organ transplant world about hearts
Yeah.
and lungs.
Mhm.
But the reason for that is because it's a mechanical function of that organ and you can see it function, you can hear it function. In a kidney, you don't get that mechanical gratification immediately. But I can tell you what we do see. And when we do have a gifted kidney from someone,
Mhm.
everything stops, obviously. There is no urination at that point. It does not make urine at that point. As soon as it is placed, and what the word we use is anastomosis, and that is basically stitching it into the person who needs that. When
Okay.
that anastomosis is complete, it
Yes.
is sometimes minutes before that kidney is already making urine. It
Yeah.
is impressive. And when somebody is as sick as any individual that's needing
Like,
hemodialysis or peritoneal dialysis,
yeah.
they do not feel well. They do not look well. We are missing removing toxins from their body on a very normal basis. It's only intermittently removing those toxins. So when they build up in somebody's body, they feel very sick. And
Mm.
as soon as that kidney is in their body for, I don't know, it's about a 24, sometimes 12 to 24-hour period, they look better, they feel better. Our recipients are always like, that was an easy surgery, I feel so good. And our donors are like, that was a surgery and I can feel that, because they are not, the person that received the kidney was so sick before that surgery actually improves their quality of life pretty quickly. And that's one of the most profound things with a kidney that we miss, being able to kind of show the public, is how fast that turnaround time can be to
Yeah.
improve somebody's life. It is that quickly. In larger organ transplants like heart and lung and liver, it may be a few days or weeks before they're starting to feel better, because they require a longer stay in the ICU. They require a little bit more stay in the unit. But with kidneys, they work so quickly to turn that quality of life around for that individual. It's humbling, and
Yeah.
it's awe-seeking to see.
Yeah, it is. Funny story when the press, when they came into that room, they asked Stacy, what was the first things that happened after transplant? She said, well, I screamed out, she's peeing because the kidney was working.
Yep.
And then as soon as she woke up, Jessica asked, first of all, is Brian's kidney mine? Followed by, can I have a baked potato? Because of her food restriction.
Potassium.
There's something else, talk about how some of these kids are on food restrictions. I mean,
They
that they have
are.
to go without, you
And to
know.
think the one thing that this child had missed, it's not sweets, it's not ice cream, it's not candy, it's a baked potato. That is very, very markable.
Yeah, just something like that. But that's something I bring up in these interviews, that a lot of these kids, depending on their condition, tube fed, not tube fed, or
Yes.
whatever, they can only have a limited diet based on, like you said,
Yeah.
what are the certain things they avoid in a diet like hers, like Paisley's?
Potassium is the biggest, and that's why she couldn't have baked potatoes.
That makes
Potatoes are very potassium enriched.
right.
Oranges are very potassium enriched.
Yes.
Potassium builds up in your system. Your kidneys do the job for your body to remove excess potassium. If we have
Right.
too much potassium in our body, we see some muscle involvement, dysfunction, including the heart. And
Okay.
that is why we're very careful with somebody who does not have the proper kidney function to remove that potassium appropriately, not to overindulge. In fact, we ask kidney patients that are on dialysis to go under the normal intake of potassium so it doesn't build up in their body. You and I
Mhm.
and any individual with healthy kidneys, whether it be one like yourself because you donated your other one, or
Yeah.
two, they process potassium every moment. Your kidneys never stop working. They are never sleeping. They are continually filtering your blood for you. When your kidneys do not function anymore, we only have intermittent filtering of blood, whether that be peritoneal dialysis or hemodialysis. So you may get a small filter every day. You may get a large filter every couple days. Peritoneal is a little bit softer, a little bit of a smoother, more controlled filter. Hemodialysis is a little bit heavier, but you're still only intermittently removing those pieces of toxins. And potassium is not toxic until it's too much. But if they build up in a system, in a child's system like that, that can be very detrimental to their health. And so that is why they have such strict diet restrictions, because we don't want to have a buildup of something that would cause another event.
Health issue. Very good.
Yes.
Yeah, I so love when we can have somebody like you in these interviews, because to get explanations of things like this that I usually wouldn't include or think of, makes a big difference. So thank you. Is there, let's go through the contact information now too. So that's exactly correct. And we will duplicate it in the ending credits also. So
Right.
I want to donate to Paisley. What is my first step?
So we are very easily found through Google. You can look up University of Utah Transplant. If you forget the health, that's fine. We are University of Utah Health. We are also an academic facility, which gives us an edge on being able to provide the most recent researched and supported evidence-based practice to our patients and for our patients. But University of Utah Health is our hospital and clinics portion. We have our university that serves people, teaches a lot of engineers and a lot of doctors, which we're super grateful for. We also have nursing. But in that, if you just put transplant, it will take you to the University of Utah Health transplant page. At the very top, they're going to be able to find a red bar or button that says become a living donor. And if they click that, it comes to our education page about living kidney donation. It has a few stories from our own personal patients that they have given us permission to publish to get some awareness out. We also have some links there that will help understand aspects of living donation. Why donate a kidney? How to donate a kidney? We have living donor requirements, so you can kind of look at basic requirements for yourself and understand what that means. You can look at finding a living kidney transplant physician. We have those. We have them for you. We also have things like types of living organ donations. Right now, we're talking about kidney. That is the most important piece of this interview. Kidney is what Paisley needs. We are super grateful. Science has offered us the ability to learn how to provide living donor kidneys to patients and help expand the ability for people to live a normal life. We do have a link on there for financial assistance for kidney donors, because there are certain occasions that financial assistance may be available through some government programs, because living kidney donation is so needed.
Yes.
Through that, you can learn a little bit more about our program. We have our physicians listed there. But at the very, very top of that, we have another big red bar, and it says start the kidney screening process. In that, when you click that, it'll take you to another University of Utah page, and that is basically an intake health questionnaire. It gets to know you. So if somebody wanted to come forward and say, I'm not sure if I could donate, but you're interested in seeing if you could, let us decide and put yourself forward, and don't automatically rule yourself out. Even if you're looking at the requirements, let us look at your clinical picture, your holistic personal picture, and we can determine whether we can move forward with testing or not move forward with testing. We take basic information. It's nothing too deep. We're looking at your name, your age. We do like to know where you live. Living in Utah is not a requirement to donate to Paisley. I want to be very clear about that. Anybody across the nation can come forward for Paisley. And we are happy to work with that individual. We do a lot of testing wherever that person lives. So I want people to understand that's not a barrier. There will be some travel towards at intermittent times, but we try to limit that as much as possible with a still full, complete evaluation process. We're just expanding our ability to find testing and partners in other places.
Right.
So in that, we ask basic health questions. And then once that is filled out, it comes to my team. And I have a very highly skilled RN team with a group of transplant specialists supporting them. We process every person that fills out a form that has passed through the initial screening. If there is a hard rule out that something comes up in your history, the system is going to tell you that automatically. Other than that, you come to this queue with my nurses reviewing. In that, we have a team, and when I talk about a team, I'm going to tell you shortly who's on that. The RN, and these are very skilled, highly trained transplant professionals who are certified transplant clinicians. We also have social work that is also transplant certified social worker. We have transplant surgeons, and we have transplant nephrologists. We have transplant certified dietitians, and we have transplant certified financial coordinators. Typically, our living donors don't talk to them, but they are in the background working to make sure that their workup is covered, no cost to the donor. So I want to be very clear, the testing that is required is not out of pocket of the person that's coming forward as a potential living donor.
Very good. Absolutely. We want to make sure everybody knows that.
And in that team, we work through a systematic process to evaluate a person holistically to make sure, as I've stated before, they are completely healthy and there would be no harm to them if they were to donate a kidney, just like yourself. It's been years since you've donated.
Yes, I'm
and you're
celebrating.
living a beautiful, healthy life.
Yeah, I'm celebrating 13 years. We are, I should say, on January 11th. We always have a special get together now every year that she's older, and it was funny. It started out when she was 10, we'd have a pizza party once a year, and then when we started to get to go to her school functions, and then she started to come to us, and now she's like a daughter to my wife and I, and
Of course.
when she started at a stranger, but I get a reward every day just for people watching. I mean, being a donor, like I'll be 64 in a few weeks. I run around with the energy of a 30-year-old. I did my last 10 years in construction, climbing 100-foot towers some days, carrying 100 pounds, materials with one kidney that whole last 10 years. And I can tell you, there is no debilitating functions. You feel a sense of gratitude every day of my life. I feel a gift every time I see Jessica, when she walks in the door, and it's like, that was that little girl that was, so sickly, and she's as tall as me, and she's a woman going after a doctorate degree. And when you hear a child, she was obviously very grateful, when they interview her after the transplant. But you hear a child saying, they want to do great things when they're older, which is pretty natural. And then to see them do that is the biggest reward for me.
It is. And we can never predict the future. We have a here and now decision to make.
Yes.
And sometimes we romanticize, I'm going to make a profound impact for our community. Maybe this person will be the president one day. Maybe they won't. But regardless, they're going to make a profound impact in our world.
Yes.
And the donation to a child will help them be able to have a platform to do that.
Yes.
If a child is struggling every day managing a non-filtered body, struggling to manage medical needs and dialysis intervals where there are hours of not being able to function properly, their world is challenged and their ability to grow in these areas is going to be incredibly challenged. So a donation to a child like what you did and what Paisley needs is such a profound impact on our community and our world, and is specifically that child and their family.
Yeah, very good. Thank you so much. Any final thoughts now? I think we've covered everything, the contacts. You've been so good about explaining everything so people really get the gist of everything and how safe and controlled this is. And I know you have just one of the most active programs from what I've known in the United States. So people watching this, I mean, they got their game going out in Utah, and I'm looking forward to meeting you and visiting with you personally next June when we take our Drive to 7,000 trip next summer. So I want to thank
I
you.
look forward to seeing you in person as well. I just want to remind everybody before we
Yes.
close,
Please do.
the testing is systematic. It is, we try to be as least invasive until we know. I don't want people to be nervous about what that testing looks like.
Yeah.
My skilled nursing team will walk you step by step on what's required. No question is off limits. So please bring it to the table and we will help educate and help navigate something like a living donor evaluation. Um, Once you are assigned a nurse, you have that nurse continually. And you may donate, as you did, Brian, 13 years ago. If you reach out to us, you're our donor for life. And if you need help from us, we're here for you 100%.
Yes, that's the same with our program too, and I assume most programs, the donor
Yes.
for life thing. That
Yeah.
I mean, I've had such great care. I told you when I got out of construction, I got out of construction and started Kidneys for Kids because my shoulders had too many years of service, and I had them both rebuilt. And because I'm a donor, I have the best medical team for anything I
Right.
might ever need in my life. And that is the same case with your center. So we want people to know that you couldn't be in better hands. You couldn't be in better educated hands than this team looking after Paisley. She's getting the best care and we're giving her the best chance for transplant. So thank you so much for joining us, for telling us everything that people can do. And we're playing this whole episode. So I believe Paisley's getting an hour episode instead of a half because this is so much good information that can apply to any one of our kids. So God bless you for being with us today.
Thank you, Brian, for the time. Thank you for working so hard to make awareness for living donation and specifically for Paisley. We appreciate everybody and for even considering giving the gift of life. And thank you for the time.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You as well.